All right, on-chain Bitcoin fees continue to be quite elevated. And so now is as good a time as any to familiarize yourself with the types of tools that can help you buffer yourself from some of the fee pressure as we see these spikes, no doubt, going forward. And that's why today I am excited to take a look at Aqua Wallet. Let's jump in. This video is made possible by Bitcoin trading cards, and I am pumped to have them as the first sponsor on my channel. I met Aladdin and the team back at Pacific Bitcoin 2022, and I'm not gonna lie, at the time I thought, okay, cool, a quirky little Bitcoin project, but little could I have imagined at the time how this project would capture imaginations. I've personally used these to orange pill people that I care about in my life. The art is stunning and features Bitcoin artists all around the world. You get high quality Bitcoin education on topics like economics and freedom as part of that, which makes this, as you can imagine, a really special project for me. And I'm not gonna lie, it makes you want to collect these. The community behind this is also truly insane. And I think they have a real shot at bringing Bitcoin to the mainstream. So if you're curious to check them out, head over to btc-tc.com where you can find the different series they've launched. And hey, if you do end up snagging some cards, you'll also get some Bitcoin rewards back on your purchase, powered by Jolts. Here's to ripping packs and stacking sats. All right, so Aqua Wallet is a mobile wallet developed by Jan3, Samson Mao's company. And what's unique about it is a non-custodial mobile wallet with support for Bitcoin, Lightning, and Liquid. If you're unfamiliar with the Liquid sidechain to Bitcoin, I have done a whole video on that, how it works, what is it. But in a nutshell, it's a sidechain to Bitcoin, and it has some really nice properties. Transactions are very private on it. It has materially lower fees than on-chain Bitcoin, as we can see evidenced here, right? You compare, and you can look at this directly on mempool.space. You can just come up to the little Bitcoin logo near the top, and you can toggle to Liquid, and it'll take you to liquid.network. Where, as you can see, these are largely empty blocks. One other really nice property you will notice here is the block time, right? It has 60-second block time as opposed to the probabilistic 10 minutes on average for Bitcoin. So much faster blocks, much lower transaction fees, which makes this pretty interesting. Now, it is as with anything. If and when we see additional usage coming into Liquid, then of course fees will go up. But for now, it is a relative bastion of low fees. And so what Aqua has done is it's bundled all of this nicely into a single mobile app. It uses tools such as Boltz Exchange, which I've done a video on in the past, allowing you to swap seamlessly between things like the Lightning Network as well as Liquid. And also it has embedded a tool called SideSwap, which allows you to do the actual peg in and peg out of pegging in your Bitcoin to Liquid and receiving LBTC, which is the one-to-one amount of Bitcoin you receive to do what you will on the Liquid network, and also peg out, or basically go in reverse. Now again, check out those past videos. One of the things that critics often raise about the Liquid sidechain is that it is federated, meaning to peg your Bitcoin out, so to basically turn your LBTC into Bitcoin and peg it out of Liquid, you essentially need to get permission from the Federation of Signers, which is a quorum of well-known companies. And so that is the trade-off, right? And honestly, with the rise of things like Fedimint and eCash, Xiaomi and eCash mints, all these things, I think you're gonna see more and more Federation type models. So I actually think the trade-off is minimal depending on what you wanna do, but it is something you want to be aware of. One of the other unique features of Aqua is that it also has support for liquid assets such as USDT or Tether, the US dollar denominated stablecoin. A lot of you watching may say, well, I have certainly no interest in that. I want to get away from, the US dollar. But there's a lot of people out there for whom having a low cost US dollar denominated asset is actually really, really powerful. It makes sense why Aqua is particularly interested in geographies like Latin America. But in any case, they've wrapped these different layers up. And I also think this approach with Lightning is actually one of the really interesting leading UX contenders that I see going forward. right? Self-custodial Lightning, as I have covered a lot on this channel, is challenging. It has a learning curve. You either need to run your own Lightning node, which has all the complexities of channel management, liquidity management, all this sort of stuff, or you're using something like Phoenix, which uses a LSP to manage some of that for you. But there still can be some complexities around fees in cases where you need to receive more what's called inbound liquidity or inbound capacity. And how Aqua is choosing to do that is with atomic swaps, meaning the wallet is still non-custodial, right? Like you are going to get a seed phrase as part of this, and that represents your funds. And yet it also, I think, smooths the experience even more, right? It's still not going to be as like meticulously squeaky clean as a fully custodial Lightning wallet, such as, you know, like the wallet of Satoshis of the world. But I think this is like a really, really good option, and you're going to see that it's really seamlessly embedded into Aqua. So with all that preamble, let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at the app in action. All right, so I have opened Aqua for the very first time. And as we can see, we are presented with the step to set it up. We can either restore an existing wallet if you happen to have a seed phrase, you know, somewhere else that you want to restore into this, you can do that. In our case, we will be creating a new wallet. I guess we have to accept the terms and conditions as well. And so we'll create a new wallet. And so pretty clean. Again, I really like the nomenclature they're using, right? Bitcoin as your sort of savings account. Your spending accounts, whether that's, you know, layer 2s of Bitcoin or other layers of Bitcoin, Liquid, in that case it's a sidechain, Lightning, as well as Tether. Having all of that in one place is super nice. Let's take a quick look at settings. I'm assuming we can find some sort of a backup. Yes, we can. So under the advanced settings, you can go to view seed phrase. That is where you can see your seed phrase, write it down, back it up, all that good stuff. You have got different languages, dark mode. Yeah, that's pretty clean. Okay, Botev is apparently a Bulgarian soccer team, so I'm not going to do much there. And they also have the get help for support at the top, so that is cool. The marketplace here is interesting. We've got a lot of different regions supported. And so I suppose this gives you the ability to do things like buy Bitcoin. You can do peer-to-peer swaps. And it looks like they have a debit card that is coming soon. So that is nice to sort of have that all built in as well. But today, of course, we want to focus on the wallet functionality itself. And as you will see, it is pretty clean. You've got the receive and send buttons there at the top, as well as the handy scan icon. And so again, on-chain fees continue to be high. If you are perplexed at why that is happening, check out my last video on Bitcoin runes and what some of that hype is about, which is really what's driving the fee pressure here. And so if you wanted to, you could click on Bitcoin here and receive to your Bitcoin address. So this would be your on-chain address. You can copy this, you can scan this QR code. That is how you would send on-chain Bitcoin to your Aqua wallet. Again, keep in mind, fees are quite high currently. So for today, what I'm actually going to do is try and receive some Lightning. So again, you can also come to just this overall receive button near the top, and we can go to Lightning Sats. And it gives you this nice little toggle where you can receive Lightning, you can receive Liquid. So these are sort of the two quote unquote additional layers that they are supporting. And so it looks like you can create a traditional invoice. So let's say I want to receive, 20,000 Satoshis. I can generate that invoice and you will get something like the following. You'll get a classic Lightning invoice that you can copy and paste elsewhere to pay it. And then finally, you can also receive Tether on Liquid. Interestingly, it also supports your ability to send Tether that is currently on the Ethereum and Tron networks, but you sort of receive it onto the Liquid network. So that's an interesting way to kind of suck up liquidity from these other ecosystems. And then you've got your, of course, liquid Bitcoin address that functions very similarly as a normal Bitcoin address. If you happen to have some LBTC directly that you want to send, here is where you would come and do that. But let's go ahead and receive some Lightning sats. So I will go ahead and come in and create an invoice. Let's just say for 30,000 sats. Let's generate the invoice. And what I'm going to do is copy this, and then I'm going to come over to my Blue Wallet. Keep in mind, you can no longer use Blue Wallet in a sort of custodial fashion or use their Lightning node. You will need to import your own LND hub, either that you're running on your node or something like Albi, which is a desktop browser extension, allows for you to hook that into Blue Wallet pretty easily. But again, it is just a Lightning wallet. Any Lightning wallet will do. And so I will allow that post. So there's my 30,000 sat invoice, and I am going ahead and paying this. And you can see it even says send to LBTC address. So that's interesting. So what is happening behind the scenes of Aqua is they are using Bolt's exchange to allow the end user to seamlessly operate across these different layers. And what's happening behind the scenes, depending on what you're trying to do, is the use of those atomic swaps. Meaning, if I have Lightning sats and I want to swap them to LBTC, I can do that in a way in which the totality of that transaction either happens or it doesn't, right? I'm not stuck sort of sending my Lightning sats and then potentially not getting the LBTC on the other side. Both legs of that swap either happen or they don't. All right, and so we have received some sats to Aqua. Now, I did receive kind of a strange error message in Blue Wallet. Again, it's still sort of early. Different wallets are going to have different kind of compatibility, especially with Aqua using some sort of unique tech with bolts under the hood. But in any case, come here and refresh our quick aside. If you exit the wallet and come back in, that is the point at which it will prompt you to back up your wallet. So that is nice. It's going to prompt you to do that the first time that you receive actual funds to the wallet. It's not going to prompt you to do that right away, only until you have actual funds. We took a look at doing that, so we're going to say back up later. And so there we go. So again, in general, I've noticed some sluggishness, just things sort of take a while. I've also noticed a little bit of bugginess around balances updating, so I just closed the app out and opened it back up. And here we are. So we have got our sats, as we can see, in our spending account. And so again, there is quite a lot happening behind the hood. So for example, if I click into now this sort of layer 2 Bitcoin spending account, I will see my balance, but you'll notice that it's actually denominated in LBTC at the top. And indeed, when I hit the send button, so let's say I want to send this value out, I can actually send that over Lightning by pasting in another invoice that I want to fill out that I put in here. Or I can send it directly to an LBTC address. So that is pretty cool. So again, you have this single balance that is interoperating across both Liquid and Lightning via Bolt's exchange, which is built under the hood here. That's pretty cool. And so that was sort of the traditional way we might receive value onto the layer 2 spending account. Another way is, of course, we can just use the scan button. And you may need to manually... Okay, so it doesn't look like it has support yet for LNURL QR codes unless I'm missing something. So that's actually a pretty big bummer, but hopefully they will build support for that soon. So in any case, one of the ways that you can swap, for example, LBTC to Tether is by coming over to the marketplace and going to this swaps option. So this is using a tool called SideSwap. And so as you can see, you could exchange LBTC into USDT, right? And so I could swap this. And so there you go. Pretty quick. You've successfully swapped to USDT. And so if I come back, I can indeed see that I now have some Tether that I can send wherever. So I will say that is pretty cool. Again, a lot of you watching may say, well, I have no use for a stablecoin, but there are a lot of people out there who do. It makes a lot of sense why Aqua has focused on geographies like Latin America, where there is a huge need for a US dollar denominated stablecoin. And I must say, having all of that here in one place is pretty slick. Having that interoperable layer 2 Bitcoin account, and then being able to, and if we just come back to Marketplace, let's maybe look at, right, so you could even go from LBTC to Bitcoin. And as you can see, this little note at the end, this is what's called pegging out. Or if we were to switch that around and go from Bitcoin to LBTC, you can see that is what's called a peg in. So you have the ability to peg in and out of the Liquid sidechain directly from this, as well as convert your layer 2 Bitcoin to Tether, etc., etc. So that is pretty slick. And again, reminder, you can also buy, Bitcoin itself directly from this option. Choose your country. You can even pay with a payment card and buy some Bitcoin there. So with all of that, let's go ahead and conclude today's video. All right, so as we saw, I don't know that it is quite as easy for my grandma to be able to use, right? That was one of the slogans that I've seen being thrown around by the Aqua team. I definitely don't think it's that easy or anywhere close to it. But as we were saying, it's really nice to have those different pieces all built in. I think it gives us a very nice indication of how wallets are likely to evolve. I think you'll have more swap service providers, particularly for Lightning, built into wallets going forward. I think you'll have the layout of like, here's my savings account, my spending accounts, etc. You're starting to make it more intuitive and feel like a more traditional user experience. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you think of Aqua? Have you used it yourself? Are there other wallets you are interested in seeing content on in the future? Let me know in the comments down below. But I hope you found this valuable and insightful. If you did, you already know what to do. Give this video a like. Use the share feature underneath this video. That really does help get this to a broader audience. And if you were so enamored with this content, you want to donate to a pleb, which really does help me continue to make these videos. You can do so in a number of ways. You can use the super thanks feature built directly into YouTube, or if you want to zip some sats my way on Lightning, you can send to my Lightning address, me@www.ianmajor.xyz, or ragermajor@getalby.com. And lastly, for those of you that want to get in touch with me, I'm now working with quite a few clients one-on-one on all sorts of questions: how to take self-custody, how to run a Bitcoin node, accepting Bitcoin payments for your business, all of that and more. You can reach out at vita.io/IanMajor. You can reach out to me there. We can set up time, all sorts of good stuff. But for now, we'll go ahead and leave this here. As a reminder, every sat counts, especially if you can use it in as low fee a way as possible. And until next time, my friends, I'll see you then.